What's up, Brian Tong here. We've got something new with the official announcement of the new Mac Mini from Apple. And you know what? You could hear those internet streets buzzing already. That's because this is the biggest redesign we've seen from the Mini since 2010, and it looks sassy. You got its 5 by 5 inch design compared with the previous Mac Mini. It's Apple's smallest desktop ever, and honestly, this looks freaking awesome. Now, it really is very Apple TV-esque, but it's a desktop computer with legit power inside. Now, the new Mac Mini not only brings the M4 chip, it's the first computer to introduce the new M4 Pro chip from Apple. You got Apple's comparisons with the Mac Mini that they use the M4 as a reference, which has a 10-core CPU and 10-core GPU, and it says it brings 1.8 times faster CPU performance and 2.2 times faster GPU performance than the M1 Mac Mini. So these are big gains from some of that earlier hardware, and again, similar to the M4 Mac, Apple is again really reaching out to people who have an M1 or Intel-based Mini to make that upgrade. And we're not even talking about the M4 Pro chip that has a 12-core CPU and a 16-core GPU. So just for comparison, the M4 has 120 gigabits per second memory bandwidth. The M4 Pro has 273 gigabits per second memory bandwidth. That's a huge difference. Now, you can also even configure the M4 Pro even another level up to a 14-core CPU and 20-core GPU version if you want even more power. It also comes with a standard 16 gigs of unified memory, which brings Apple Intelligence support here. We know all about that, right? The Neural Engine on the Mac Mini, 3 times faster than the M1 Mac Mini as well. And we talked about all the Apple Intelligence features available on the Mac in other videos that I've had. But look, right now you got writing tools to proofread and change the tone of your writing on the spot. You can directly handle Siri requests in the toolbar, type them in if you want, and more. But again, all the generative creation stuff like Genmojis on a Mac and Image Playground, that's coming later to macOS Sequoia down the road. Now, we don't know exactly when, but we also know that, you know, it's trailing behind when iOS and iPadOS will be getting those generative creation tools. And then depending on your configuration, look, 16 gigs is the base. You can go up to 64 gigs of unified memory for this new M4 and M4 Pro Mac Mini. And as a content creator, all that power in a package this small is pretty ridiculous. So, you know what they say, I guess big things really do come in small packages. Kind of like me.
It's not really that big.
Okay, let's talk connectivity. On the front, you'll have 2 USB-C ports with support for USB 3 speeds. That's up to 10 gigabits per second, and also a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On the back, this is the first Mac to get Thunderbolt 5 ports. That's if you jump up to the M4 Pro model. So the M4 Mac Mini has 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports on its back, while the M4 Pro Mac Mini has 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports. Now, Thunderbolt 4 gives you up to 40 gigabits per second transfer speeds, while Thunderbolt 5 gives you up to 120 gigabits per second transfer speeds. That is 3 times faster, and fast don't lie. Now, if we're talking about display support, the M4 Mac Mini can support up to 2 6K displays and up to 1 5K display, while the M4 Pro Mac Mini can support up to 3 6K displays at 60 Hertz. And look, this Mac Mini is just a freaking freak of nature for its size. You'll also get an HDMI port to plug right into a TV or an HDMI display. And the Gigabit Ethernet port, that can also be configured to up to a 10 Gigabit Ethernet port if you want. Now, the new Mac Mini is small and powerful, and it brings a similar thermal architecture that reminds me of the Mac Studio. So it guides in air into different levels of its internal system while the heat just vents out through the foot. And I'm loving everything about this, and it really has me considering getting a Mac Mini for that little home office computer that I have here in a different room. It's that powerful, and not only is it like a home office machine, I could do a lot of video editing on that, even take it on the go if I want. This is also Apple's first carbon neutral Mac. You know, we've seen them focus on their goal to be a completely carbon neutral company by 2030. So this includes everything from the packaging to the 100% recycled aluminum. You got the 100% gold plating in their circuit boards and 100% recycled rare earth metals in all their magnets and so much more. And you know, that's just really impressive. And they have been at the forefront with their Apple 2030 initiative. Now, before getting a chance to get my hands on this machine, I think that the biggest group that should consider upgrading is anyone with an Intel-based Mac right now, or even an M1 who feels like, hey, maybe it's getting bogged down. Maybe you got one of the M1s that started with 8 gigs of memory. I think you need more these days. But for anyone in content creation, right, the biggest difference is that if you have an M1, that chip does not have Apple's Media Engine, and that thing just tears through video for rendering out video projects. So if you jumped in on the M1 when it launched, and it's, you know, it's still impressive, that's the biggest thing you're missing, that Media Engine, and you will feel it. But at the same time, you could also find a good deal on an M2 chip or higher that has that Media Engine with an M4 Mac Mini. We know, right? This is the new with the new design. Now Macs can handle gaming, and it continues to get better, but it's still not at that same level as a more powerful PC gaming setup. And the game library, yes, it is still light years behind, but that's not what the Mac Mini is really trying to compete against, not against those big, you know, PC gaming rigs. But here's some other comparison points that Apple put out when comparing a Mac Mini with an Intel Core i7 versus an M4 Pro Mac Mini. And then you got a Mac Mini with an M2 Pro compared to one with the M4 Pro. And you look at all these, and really the M4 Pro just eats up these earlier Macs, and honestly, it should. But my advice, it stays the same. Only upgrade when you absolutely need to upgrade. Also upgrade within your budget, or if you just want to spend money, because there's lots of people like that as well. Now the new M4 Mac Mini starts at $599 for the base model that has 16 gigs of unified memory and a 256 gig hard drive, and it increases in price with different configuration changes that you want to make with memory and storage. Here now though, the base model M4 Pro Mac Mini starts at $1,399 with 24 gigs of unified memory and a 512 gig hard drive. But you know how we do it here. Let's just have some fun and let's just max out, fully load a M4 Pro Mac Mini. So I would just say, buckle up for this one, okay? So we'll go with the highest tier M4 Pro chip with a 14-core CPU and 20-core GPU, 64 gigs of unified memory, and then, yeah, let's bump this bad boy up to the 8 terabyte hard drive, which is, what, like an additional $2,400. We're going to do it. And then, yeah, give me the 10 gigabit Ethernet upgrade as well. And before AppleCare and tax, you're looking at a $4,699 machine that is an absolute beast at that size that also can fit in the palm of your hand. Like, that is just insane. And clearly, this is a Mac Mini like no other. Now, you can pre-order today, and the new M4 and M4 Pro Mac Minis will be available on November the 8th. So, guess what? I would love to hear what you're all thinking about this new Mac Mini in the comments. This is a huge jump for the Mini, and there's not many people that really need more power and more CPU like muscle than this new Mac Mini can offer, but I would love to hear what you think in the comments. I read them all, and you know I do, because you can find me in the comments with you. All right, that's going to do it for this video. If you like what you see, hey, Apple said they have 3 announcements this week. You know what that means? We have one more to go, which is likely the new M4 MacBook Pro lineup. And guess what? I guess that means, yeah, we'll see you soon again. Now, if you like what you see here, give me that thumbs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my latest videos when they drop. And if you want more of that Apple goodness, you can check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast with the latest stories and special guests. Plus, you can support all my content with an ad-free version of the podcast, early access to my content, and exclusive content at patreon.com/BrianTong. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you on the next video. Peace and love.